Hello! So this is an introduction to the C# minor Etude by Andersen. This video goes in depth into the rhythms of the Etude and just gives you an introductory overview of the entire Etude. It doesn't really go into the style or the character of the Etude that much, but really what I'm trying to focus on here is just making the rhythms accessible to younger students and just making them easier to pick up. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth between counting the rhythms and playing the rhythms. So if you're worried about the rhythms on the C# minor Etude, you have came to the right place. So I will be teaching the C# minor Etude. This will be measure 1 through measure 9, going over the rhythms in these measures specifically. So you can see that I have some helpful tools written in to help you subdivide and have rhythmic stability in this Etude. It's very important that the rhythms are 100% correct in this Etude. So I'll just kind of go measure by measure. So in measure 1, a rhythm that is often missed is going to be on beat 3. And so beat 3 of measure 1, this would be counted 3 and a 1. However, we do have that grace note, but you should definitely practice it without the grace note until you get very comfortable with this rhythm. So this isn't too difficult of a rhythm, but I'm just going to make sure that all of the rhythms have gone through. So this is played. So measure 1 would be played. Alright, so that's 3 and a 1. In measure 2, we have a dotted quarter note. The dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. So when you're playing with the metronome, you're going to hear 2 clicks, and on the end of 2, that's when the C# is played. So this one is counted as 1 and. Again, this is measure 2, the G# and C#. It's counted 1 and it's played. The whole measure would sound like. Alright, and then coming into measure 3, we have a triplet on count 1, and then followed by duple, two eighth notes. So you're going to have to subdivide in triplets first, and then go immediately into eighth notes, followed by the dotted 16th, or dotted eighth 16th rhythm. So I would actually tongue this count 4 of, let me see if I can get a pointer out. You can count beat 4 and subdivide it by thinking, this is beat 3, thinking 3E and a 1. So I would tongue it first. And then you can do it without the tongue. 3E and a 1. Okay, so that full measure would be counted 1 lolly, 2 and 3 a 1, or 3E and a 1. I would count the subdivision in my brain. So playing, it sounds like 1 lolly, 2 and 3E and a 1. And the last measure of this line is going to be, just make sure you watch out for that dotted quarter note, that you get 2 clicks in there, and then the G# is placed on the end. So that's kind of what the 2 vertical lines, those are 2 clicks or 2 downbeats is what I'm listening for. So this whole measure would be counted in measure 4. 1 and a 2 and. It would be played like. So I'm going to count the first line. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1 lolly, 2, and 3E, and a 1, and a 2, and. Alright, I'm going to play this. Ready, go. moving on to the second phrase. So this first measure, or measure 5, is exactly like measure 1. And then in measure 6, it's the same rhythm again, so this repeats. Just make sure again you hear 2 clicks on that G sharp and the E is placed on the and. And then in measure 7, we do have triplets, so I have the triangle indicating the triplets. And this measure, I'm going to count measure 7, because we have 2 counts of triplets. But make sure that that dotted 8th note, 16th, doesn't sound too triplety. It has to be exactly subdivided, thinking 3E and O1. So this is me counting measure 8. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3E and O1. Again, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3E and O1. So it sounds like, go. Counting sounds like 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3E and O1. Playing, go. And again, I would tongue that third beat. I would tongue the B natural 3 times to subdivide into 16th notes. So it sounds like, without the tongue, whole measure, go. All right, so putting together this whole line, starting in measure 5, I'll count the lines together. First, counting, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3E and a 1. Playing, ready, go. That's it for measures 1 through measures 9. So I'm going to count measures 1 through measures 9 all together, and then I'm going to play it through. Counting, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1 lolly, 2, and 3E and a 1, and a 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3E and a 1, off. All right, playing. 1, 2, ready, go. So now let's work on measures 9 through measures 18. So beginning in the second ending, we have that pick up into the next measure. And make sure again that you count the dotted quarter note. It gets 2 clicks, and then which is the A, and then the G sharp happens on the up. And then in measure 11, so this measure right here, we want to pay attention and make sure that we're playing that triplet correctly. So we have 1 lolly, all in one beat. Then beat 2 is on the A, so that's why I have that down or that slash drawn, so we know when we're supposed to hear the click on the A. And then the F double sharp, which is fingered like G, that happens on the and. So we have a little bit of syncopation. So I'm going to start from counting on the A, and this will sound like 2 and again, go. 2 and so again, that the click will be on the A on count 2, then the F double sharp will happen on the and on the upbeat, So I have an up arrow drawn. And then you'll hear a click during that where count 3 happens. So you have to hold, you have to tie that because it gets 2 eighth notes worth tied together. And then the G sharp happens on the and. So I'll count it and then I'll play it again. I'll do the whole measure. Counting, ready, go. 1 lolly, 2 and. Playing, ready, go. Again, go. Counting, again, go. 1 lolly, 2 and. All right, and then in the next measure right here, you're gonna wanna make sure that you rest on that eighth note. However, definitely come in properly, and you're gonna have to subdivide in triplets on that beat and then go into duple right here. So make sure that your subdivision is happening correctly. I'm gonna go over measure 13. So this has a similar syncopation, however it's starting on beat 1. So this is counted 1 and. Again, go. 1 and. Sounds like go. Again, go. All right, so I'm gonna put all of that together. I'll count it first and then I'll play it. So this is the starting and the second ending on those pickups. Ready, go. 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 lolly 2 and lolly 2 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and. Playing. Ready, go. Moving on. So in measure 14, we have that rest on count 2, and then we come in on the and make sure that you tie that properly down to the next beat. When practicing this, I would practice this by breaking the tie and retonguing that B on beat 3. So I would practice this measure 14 just like this. Ready, go. Again, go. So again, breaking that tie, and once you're comfortable with the rhythm, adding that tie in back later. Now in measure 15, I would say this measure is best practiced by giving the eighth note the downbeat. And so when you do that, you basically kind of take your tempo, which right now is going 56, and multiplying that by 2. I'm going to go a little slower. I'm going to practice this at 100, but giving the eighth note the beat. So now everything in this measure doubles in value. So any 16th notes are going to be given half the beat, and they're going to be kind of played like eighth notes as you would in 4/4. So this measure will now be counted just like this. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 lolly. Sorry, I'm gonna break that tie right there, and so I will count that tie. 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and stop. Again, gonna be counted 1 and 2 lolly, stop. That's what I would practice first. So I'm gonna play that. Again, tonguing that A and breaking that down. 1 and 2 lolly, stop. And then the rest of these are just practice like eighth notes, so they sound like this. So I'm going to start on big beat 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Sorry. Again, go. Put it all together, still breaking the tie, it sounds like this. Ready, go. once you get comfortable, I'd add in the tie, and it sounds like this. So this is with the tie. Ready, go. Again, ready, go. So I'm going to count measure 15 again, giving the eighth note the beat. So this is at 100. 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. So it's played like this. And again, this is without the mordent, just so you can become really proficient in this rhythm. Moving on to the next measure, right here. Make sure that you again play this first beat subdivided with 3/16 notes to that eighth note. And then you have a triplet over here on count 3. So you definitely have to practice making that switch between the duple and triple. I'm going to move my metronome back down to 50. So I will count that measure first. Ready, go. 1 E and a 2 and lolly 1. And again, you can practice this with breaking the tie, adding back in the tie so that you are perfectly subdivided. Without the tie, it sounds like this. 1 E and a 2 and 3 lolly 1. I will play it breaking the tie. Ready, go. Now adding back in the tie. Ready, go. Alright, so I will count the line that starts on measure 14, and then I will play it. Ready, go. 1 and lolly 1 and 2 lolly 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 E and a 2 and lolly 1 3 1 off. Playing. Ready, go. So that is it for this section from 9 to 18. I'm going to play it through once more, 9 through 18. Ready, go. Okay, now I will move on to measure 18 through 25. First, I'm going to just count it straight through. These should be rhythms that are familiar from the beginning, and then I will play it. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1 lolly, 2, and 3 E, and a 1, and a 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 E, and a 1 off. Playing. 1, 2, ready, go. going to do a review of the beginning of C major. I'm going to go back and forth between counting each small 4-bar phrase and then playing it. And again, just want to give note that I marked up at the top of the page the double sharps, this C double sharp in measure 6, or any C double sharp that you see has the little X by it that indicates double sharp. That's going to be played as D natural, and then F double sharp, for example, in that measure, would be played as G natural. So I have those labeled up there as kind of a quick guide. Okay, I'm going to count measures 1 through 4, so the first line, and then I'll play it. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1, lolly, 2, and 3, E, and a 1, and a 2, and. Playing. 1, ready, go. Counting from measures 5 right here through measure 9, stopping right there. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1, lolly, 2, lolly, 3, E, and a 1, off. So again, this dotted quarter note, it gets 2 clicks, and then that E sharp right here happens on the and. You can also think of it in the way that you tap your foot, so you could think down, down, up. Down, down, up. So it's played down, down, up, down. Okay, so I'm going to count. I'm going to count bars 5 through 9. 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and 3, and 1, lolly, 2, lolly, 3, E, and a 1, off. Okay, playing. 2, ready, go. I'm going to count the pickup from bar 9 all the way until the first beat of measure 14. So starting right here, counting, ready, go. 3, and 1, and 2, and 1, lolly, 2, and, lolly, 2, 3, and 1, and 3, and 1, and. Playing. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, going down a little bit further. So now I'm going to be counting starting right here. Actually, I'll start counting at the beginning of measure 14, and I will stop at measure 18. Counting, ready, go. 1, and, lolly. This I would count in double time, so actually I'm going to switch the metronome. I'd put it on 100, and then you can count it. 1, and 2, lolly, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1. 1, and 2, lolly, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1. So it sounds like. And that's breaking that tie right here to help you practice that. And then you can add that back in later. I'm going to start from right here. I'm going to put my metronome back down. So I would kind of isolate that measure until you can really play it at the, giving the quarter note the beat. So starting right here, counting, ready, go. 1 E and a 2 and lolly, 1, 3, 1, off. Okay, playing, starting in measure 14 on beat 1, ready, go. So I'll go ahead and play measure 15 again. Sounds like this. So you really want to take note of where the metronome is clicking in this. We have downbeat right there while you're tying, and right there. So I'm going to play it one more time. Ready, go. I'll demonstrate it once more at 100 just to kind of drill this rhythm in. So again, it's counted 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. All right. Okay, I'm going to set my metronome back and keep going. So I will start counting in measure 18 on beat 1. Let me get my pointer. Start counting there, and I'm going to count until measure 25. 2, counting, go. 1, 2 and 3 and a 1 and 3 and 1 lolly, 2 and 3 E and a 1 and a 2 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 E and a 1, off. Playing, starting in measure 18. Ready, go. And again, in this measure or in any measure where you have triplets going into dotted 8/16, I would tongue and subdivide that dotted 8/16 as 3 E and a 1. And so you can do it with your tongue. So that whole measure is played. Go. Lolly, 2 lolly, 3 E and a 1, off. Alright, so I'm going to play this all together with the metronome now. 2, ready, go. So now we're going to learn part 2 of this etude. We are going to start in measure 26. It is labeled un poco più mosso, which means slightly faster. So, this would be played maybe on the faster end of 62 equals the quarter note. However, what we are going to do is, since you're likely sight reading it or learning it for the first time, we're going to play it really, really under tempo, just so you can go ahead and get all of these challenging accidentals in here. Again, F double sharp is going to be played as G because you take an F and you raise it by 2 half steps, or you can kind of think it's like sharp twice, but basically it's a whole step higher than F to be played as G. So the notes in this first beat is B natural, G sharp, then F double sharp fingered like G, and then G sharp. But for the most part, we are going to be playing this slower. We're going to be playing it where we're practicing it as the 8th note gets the beat. However, in the end, you're definitely going to want to play it faster to where the 16th note, where the quarter note gets the beat. So right now we're going to go nice and easy at 66. It's going to be at this tempo. However, in the end, your goal will be able to play this as quarter note equals 62. So it would be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1. So that's the speed that you're going to want to go. However, right now, we're going to go kind of twice as slow where the 8th note gets the beat, so we can get all of these notes in here, play them perfectly. So the 8th note gets the beat. 16th notes are kind of going to be played as 8th notes if you were playing it in 4/4. And then, for example, this rhythm, the dotted 8th would be like a dotted quarter note, so you're going to give that actually 2 clicks on that G sharp, and then this would be played on the upbeat right there. So that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to start playing in measure 26 and stopping in measure 30. 1 and 2 and ready, go. That was nice and easy. You might want to go back, finger through the notes, figure out which notes that you missed, write them in. But again, we have this measure, and then it's repeated up an octave right there, so you kind of want to recognize those patterns a little bit, but I'll play it through once more. You can pause the video, maybe finger through it, and then play it again with me. So we'll play it again. 1, 2, and ready, go. So if we were playing that at 66 right now with the 8th note, you're going to want to get that faster to about like 112, and that's going to give you really great subdivision, and then you can drop it back down to 62 and play it as written with the quarter note getting the beat. So this is with it subdivided at 112. Again, you drop that down to 62 and play it at the final tempo. 1 E and a ready, go. go. So that's how you're going to want to practice this, making sure you get all of the notes. So we're going to keep going on, playing nice and slow, in, giving the eighth note the beat, and we're going to start right there and measure 30, going until that blue marking right there, the downbeat of measure 34. So again, the 16th notes, treat them kind of like eighth notes, so that we can play this nice and slow. So we're going to start on the F double sharp, again fingered like G, and keep going. 1 and ready, go. So again, finger through what you missed. Again, we have another double F sharp right there, fingered like G again. Make sure you're playing your B sharp is fingered like C, because you take B and it's raised by a half step. So if you're missing those notes, definitely check out those enharmonic notes and make sure that you're fingering them right. And if you're not fingering them right, look up the fingering and make sure that you're playing all of the right pitches in here. Definitely important. So we're going to go ahead and play that section again, starting from here, going until there. 1 and ready, go. So again, that's not the final tempo that this section will go, but this is definitely a starting point. So you're going to start practicing giving the eighth note the beat at 62, working it all the way up with your metronome step by step, getting it to 112, then dropping it down to 60 and playing it where the quarter note gets the beat, so that you'll be right with the metronome, super subdivided, playing all of the right pitches and having it just perfect with the metronome. So I'm going to play a portion of the second section starting in measure 26 right here and going all the way until the downbeat of measure 34. I'm going to play this faster with the eighth note subdivision on. This is 92. 1 and 2 and ready. So now I'm going to be starting in measure 34, right there on the first beat on B natural. I'm playing just to the end of the page since I can't really turn it that well right now while I'm playing. This is a repeat of the beginning, however, you should take a look definitely at this measure because there's some different notes in here, so I'm going to play each note kind of slowly. So again, make sure you're fingering F double sharp as G natural, A sharp's fingered like B flat, E sharp's fingered like F, D sharp's fingered like E flat. So if you're not familiar with those enharmonic notes, definitely go ahead and look those up so that you can play this measure. Alright, so again, starting in measure 34, right here, giving the eighth note the beat, we're playing it really slow so we can just get all of these pitches correct. Again, this is sort of, a repeat from measure 26, so it should feel familiar at this point. 1 and ready, go. play that last measure again just to help you out, make sure you're getting the right pitches. Last measure again, you can pause and finger and play it again with me now. Ready, go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play through from measure 26 through to the end of the page, just kind of put the bigger chunks, bigger section together. So again, this is eighth note equals 66. You're going to want to play it much faster, get that up to 112, and then give the quarter note the beat at 62. So this is kind of like half as slow. 2 and ready, go. So now I'm going to play starting in measure 38 and playing all the way up until right here in measure 41. So you're not looking at measure 38 right now. I have it pulled up on the side. So if I were you, I would definitely have the pages side by side so that you can practice this, how you're going to perform it all together. But right now this is kind of all I can show on the screen easily. So I'm going to start in measure 38. So if you have that on a separate page, definitely look at that and try to play along. 1 and again, this is nice and slow, eighth note getting the beat. 1 and ready, go. So that kind of concludes that 16th note section. Definitely work on getting that tempo faster, closer to the goal tempo. So most of this was just kind of checking pitches. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to counting and playing, starting in measure 41 right there, stopping at the tranquillo right there. Counting, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3 lolly, 1 and 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 and 2 and 3 lolly, 1 and 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 off. So again, make sure that you're going back and forth between the duple, for example right here, and the triple. So I'm gonna go ahead and label where we go into triple so you can kind of always know what's happening rather than being surprised. So thinking down, up, triple it in most of these spots is what's going to help you. All right, so now playing, starting at the beginning of measure 41 on the first beat. 1, ready, go. So again, definitely make sure that right here that B sharp carries through in the measure. I know that I missed that the first time that I was practicing this. All right, so we're going to go on to the next section I want to point out this rhythm right here. That is a double dotted quarter note. So I'm going to kind of show you something real quick. So we have a quarter note plus the first dot plus the second dot. Now each dot adds half of the value of the note or dot that it follows. So you have one beat right here. This dot adds half of the value that it follows, which is the quarter note. So half of 1 is a half. And then this dot adds half of the previous value, and half of a half is a quarter. In other words, if that was a little confusing, you have a quarter note plus an eighth note plus a 16th, and there are 4 16ths in the quarter note, 2 16ths in this eighth note, plus that last 16th. So all of these tied together equal that double dotted quarter note. So what we actually have is 1 3/4 of a beat. Now when you're subdividing, I would just think 1 E and a 2 E and. So you have 1 E and a 2 E and then the last 16th of the beat is actually here. So you actually have 2 full beats right here with the double dotted quarter note plus that 16th. So this is 1 3/4 that you have right there, and then this is that last 16th. So again, right here we're starting on count 2. So I would think 2 E and a 3 E and a. And that last is that G sharp. So I would play it tongued. Sounds like and you will be actually slowing down in this section, so it probably won't be that fast. So you're just going to want to make sure that you hear 2 clicks, and then on the very last 16th of that, you're going to place that G sharp nice and precise. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that so it's not all confusing in here, and I'll write in the counts. 2 E and 3 E and then this is the right there. So hopefully that makes enough sense. So I'm going to count starting right here on that pickup in measure 45, that's beat 3. Counting, 2, ready, go. 3 E and a 1 and 3 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1. And this is where the etude stops. It stops, or the audition music material, it stops right on the downbeat of measure 50. So you actually don't have to learn anything down past that. You can check the TMEA website for all of the other requirements, but it definitely stops right there for the audition purposes. And so when I counted that, I definitely counted the subdivision because that's what I want you to be thinking inside your brain. So now I'm going to play that same section. 2, ready, go. And again, on those dotted quarter notes, I'd be thinking down, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down. All right, so that's pretty much everything for this etude. Thank you.